Here we are at the end of October. We have commemorated Mental Health Day. We've talked about anti bullying. We've talked about all sorts of things that suggest that we are paying attention to our mental health. I'm sorry, I'm yelling, but I am not even going to say my thoughts and prayers are with the families in Maine because I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it. Why do we have such high powered weapons that can do such damage in such a short period of time? Why do we need to own them? I continue to say we need to do something about the type of weapons we have on our streets. We are a civilian population. We're not at war within. We do not need to be armed with automatic weapons that can murder 18 people in 7 minutes. Not good. I am so sorry. I am so very sorry for the loss of these families. And please forgive me for saying what everyone else has said 100 times. But we need to do something. Pay attention to your loved ones, your neighbors, and may their souls rest in peace. And for the injured and the traumatized, um, we can only say we pray for you and we hope you're getting the support and help you need. Well, regular order. As you can see, I am dolled to the nines. Yes, it is almost Halloween. And no, I am not going to a costume party. I am just decked like a queen. Thank you, Hope Wade. We are still being stylized, fashionized, and dressed by Hope Wade Designs. And you too can be dressed by Hope Wade. Check her out at hopewadedesigns.com or visit her in store in Nyack on North Broadway, 23 North Broadway in New York. Quick drive from New Jersey. And if you're in the city, it's a lovely drive. Beautiful fall foliage. Great time to go visit. So, welcome to The Whole Woman. This broadcast and Living Life Authentically are brought to you courtesy of Diageo North America, and we are delighted to be their partners in reminding you to drink responsibly. And if you've not yet seen the program, check out their Drink IQ program. If you have young adults, definitely something you want to get involved with. And for sure, you know, some of us adults could have a little reminder as to how to drink responsibly. I'm Natalie B. McKenzie, and today our guest is a friend. She's my sister, my friend. I really like her. But more importantly, she does phenomenal work in the community. She serves as an associate minister and was a deaconess at the Community Baptist Church of Englewood. She's a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated at the Iota Epsilon Omega chapter. You would think I am oh so familiar with that since we're Soros in the same chapter. She is a proud HBCU grad, and she assists in the Black and Brown youth with their college admissions process back at Think HBCU program. She has a master's in divinity, which she acquired from Drew Theological Seminary. And she currently serves as the executive director of Center for Food Action in Englewood, New Jersey. Help me welcome our guest today, none other than Mrs. Nicole A. Davis.
Natalie, good
Hey,
evening.
good.
How are you?
Oh, I am wonderful sitting here looking all vamped, thanks to Hope
I
Wade.
see you. I see you.
Welcome.
Fabulous.
Thank you for
Fabulous.
joining us.
Thank you for having me. Absolutely.
It's such a pleasure, Nicole, to have you with us. You are very familiar with us. We are oh so familiar with you. We love to have you sit and join us, but you have accomplished so much since your last visit, and we'd like to talk about that and talk about what you're up to. We know you are committed to giving back to the community as we see in your life's work and your life's commitment. Tell us what you have been up to, and maybe just give us a little background for our viewers who are not familiar with you, who haven't had the pleasure of meeting you before.
So, Natalie, thanks again for having me. Thank you to your producer extraordinaire, Deidre Tate. The last time I was on the show, we were in the pandemic.
We sure were.
And we were doing work here at Center for Food Action, trying to keep the 100 towns in northern New Jersey experiencing food insecurity connected to food. I'm a firm believer that, food is medicine. It is our energy source. And if you don't have it readily available, you will have challenges at being successful in this life. Just like we need clean water, we also need food.
And we
So,
need healthy food. We need good quality food.
absolutely. And I will get into it some more, but one of the things that we're working to do here at Center for Food Action is to move beyond the can, right? Because when you go to a pantry, you get a lot of canned goods, but we are pushing towards fresh fruit, vegetables,
Mhm.
things that, invigorate our bodies, things that are green. Our board chair, Dr. Menon Matthias Fredericks, is a physician. And the first thing that she did when she came into the warehouse was she began reading labels and telling them at the warehouse, this has got to go, that's got to go, and what are the replacements? Let's lower the sodium, let's lower the salt, because of the comorbidities associated with people facing food insecurity, high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, and those things. So, the long and the short of it is, I started at Center for Food Action in October of 2018, and I started in the events department. And as time progressed, I knew there were other things that I could lend to this organization. And then, bit bang boom, the pandemic hit, and
Mhm.
I found myself kind of like Girl Friday in different departments saying, well, what do you need? And what do you need? And what do you need? Because what I knew in my heart of hearts, and I think you understand the space of transparency, I was like, we're in a pandemic. We're not fitting to have a gala. We're not fitting to have a
Right.
snack pack event. And I was like, listen, I need my job. So let's just all get together and have a good time. So
Great
in that,
opportunity.
I got an opportunity to talk to the clients and to make sure that they were getting their appointments. I had an opportunity to be on the front lines and really help our team uh work through the pandemic, whether it was getting us signage, whether it was, finding other sources to fill in. So my role grew, but I really got to see the underbelly of food insecurity. See, it's one thing to see the donors and to get dressed up and, go rub elbows, but it is another thing to get down on the ground with someone who is crying on the phone that they have no food, that they've lost their job, and
Mm.
what are they going to do? So I think that it's been a fast but interesting journey. And our executive director retired last year. Well, no, she retired in March. She retired in March. And I said, I am applying for the position, and God is good. And here I sit as the executive director. Center for Food Action is 47 years old, and it was founded by Harry Chapin, singer-songwriter Harry Chapin. And so Harry founded it thinking that they were doing something for world hunger. And lo and behold, they discovered that there was hunger in New Jersey and New York.
And in Bergen County. How about that?
Absolutely.
So, Nicole, you're here. Your office, rather, is located here in Englewood, New Jersey. Tell
Yes.
me about your connection to Englewood, to Bergen County, and why this is an easy fit for you, and
Mhm.
how do you engage the community to partner with you?
Sure. So I am an Englewoodian. I am from Englewood. I graduated from Dwight Morrow High School. And so Englewood is my beloved community and near and dear to my heart. Um, so, there's something that happens when you step into the space of community. And you want to see your community do well. So here's the interesting thing: my mom was a school nurse, and my dad was an administrator in the Englewood Public Schools. They both worked in the Englewood Public School system. And in my mother's office, she had a refrigerator and a toaster oven. And in the refrigerator, she had a block of government cheese. She had a loaf of bread that she purchased on top of the toaster oven, and orange juice. And she would kind of make these jimmy rigged cheese sandwiches, kind of heated up and gooey, because kids would come in and they would say, "Mrs. Desane, I don't feel well. Mrs. Desane, I have a headache. I
Mhm.
don't want to go to class." And she immediately knew, as an RN, that this was hunger, right? So she would do these sandwiches and you get orange juice, and then she would send them back to class and they were ready to go.
Wow.
And how I know that her work transcends is that I see adults today who tell me, "I remember your mom. I remember that grilled cheese sandwich in the nurse's office at Lincoln School." So it is a DNA thing, for me. And then my father was a strong advocate for educational justice. My dad was doing STEM back in the late 70s when STEM wasn't even talked about, but he did a reading and science camp for kids. Because here's the thing: everybody says, "What about the gifted and talented?" The gifted and talented are always taken care of because
That's
they're gifted and talented. But for those that are just right there in the C range, we kind of overlook them, but they have got immense talent that needs to be cultivated and unearthed. So those are my fond memories of Englewood. And it's just this part of my work here at CFA is actually a labor of love. I was telling somebody the other day, this is probably my fourth stop in a career journey, right? So I was
Let's talk
in,
about that. Let's talk
yeah,
about that. Please
yeah.
tell us.
So I started out in the music industry. I graduated from Howard University and went to work for Polygram Group Distribution out in Maryland, and then got a job offer in New York with Mercury Records. And I moved to New York and ended up moving back to Englewood. I kept telling the realtor, "I don't want an apartment in Englewood. I want to live someplace else." And I lived in Englewood. And so that music experience doing marketing and sales was amazing. And I tell everybody, I tell young people, you should have at least one career path or moment that you just love. Um, and then you'll have some other career paths that are there for other reasons. So I just love the music, made great friends, and still have those friends till today. Listen, it is the soundtrack of our life as we celebrate 50 years of hip hop. So I left music and went into events. Had my own event company, Desane and Associates, for 17 years. And we worked with the National Association of Black-owned Broadcasters, Minority Media Telecommunications, and a number of trade organizations, which kept me connected to Washington. So I was excited about that. That is my, second favorite city in the country. And then I came out of that and I kind of hit the wall, and I was like, I'm tired of being a business owner. I need to look at this differently. And I went into the consultancy space and spent time as an individual consultant, helping Foundation for Sickle Cell Research and working at KPMG. And then I came to my resting place or stop here at CFA. And as I simultaneously started at CFA, I then went to Drew Theological Seminary to work on my Master's of Divinity in Social Justice. So now as ED, you take all of that experience and put it together, and it works in that way. So my advice to people: don't despise small beginnings, and everything in our path has a use at some point.
What do you find, Nicole, is your greatest asset as you get very comfortable in a role that I think was you were born for and was made for you. I remember Patricia Epson. She was a phenomenal ED. And when you thought of CFA, her face popped up because she had been there for so long. But I think it was such a natural transition when it went from you to her, from her to you. Tell me, what is it in your background or the experiences you've had, what is it that is undergirding and really making it click and easy for you to connect with the community?
So I am a strong communicator, and I'm going to communicate the message. I'm going to deliver the news. As on Living Color, she says, I don't make the news, I just report the news. So I'm going to bring you the news, good, bad, or indifferent, because that is the way that we move forward, that we have to take things for what they really, really are and what they mean. So I think in that space, I have levity of being a good communicator. I have the utmost respect for humanity because everybody walking on this earth, we are all God's children. I think that it's important for us to always extend a measure of grace, because there is a moment where you say, there before the grace of God go I. And then I think that we have to look at equity and equality because so much is happening in this country where we are trying to undo what the forefathers have done. Listen, they did not boycott the Montgomery bus system for 358 days for nothing. They did not. And we can't make that go away. And we need to amplify that message. So it's those things, people's civil rights, right? That really drive me, and the space of what we call food justice. Um, and so I think those are the things that kind of put me in play. I am reasonable, but I need you to make it make sense. Tough cookie in that space, but make it make sense.
It's your voice. So, Nicole, you recently became a licensed minister
Yeah.
at Community Baptist Church after having
Yeah.
been a deaconess there. And I believe you also served on the board of trustees for many years.
Yes.
How is
Yeah.
your faith driving, impacting, or influencing what you do today?
So I think that the faith component is just again a space of growth, right? So it's a space of maturity, to understand that from a preaching moment or a ministry moment, that again we are handling God's people and we want the best for them, right? um and so it's just that movement of trying to help people move their lives forward. There are so many forces that weigh people down. And to get over them, to get around them, you need elements of faith. You need people who are willing to come alongside of you, and to be that friend and to be that buddy, and to really stand in that space. So I think that that is what drives me in that space. There's an exchange that happens.
So here we are approaching Thanksgiving, and we've talked about food insecurity, and everyone gets excited about donating and helping with food around about Thanksgiving. I am so happy at the top of the show that you mentioned we want to move away from canned foods because
Yes.
we want to give people life-giving foods that are going to sustain them and help our children to grow and not bounce off the walls. So,
Mhm.
what are some of the things you have on tap to engage the community to support you, and how do we do that now that we're not rushing off to the latest and greatest, whether it's Whole Foods or ShopRite or Little or whatever the store is, to do the next can to donate?
Yes. So here's the interesting thing. And thank you for this, Natalie. Thank you for this space and forum. Our buying power is 3 to 1. So when you run to the can and bring me 10 cans, the money that you spent on the 10 cans, I could have done 30 cans. And so what I know and what we have figured out is that, $100 by Center for Food Action, 58 pounds of fresh produce, right? $250 can be a 1 month supply of formula to a family.
Mm.
$1,000 can support 40 dinners for seniors. Dinners for seniors are enhanced meal packages that make sure that they're lean meats and that they're fresh vegetables for seniors. And then the list goes on. $2,500 gets us 38 food boxes. For Thanksgiving, we will give out turkey and we will give out fixings and a pan. We will also give people a gift card so that they can go to the grocery store and get items that are culturally appropriate.
Mm.
Because check it out. If I give you an eggplant and you've never had eggplant, you are clueless.
Yep.
One year we had Brussels sprouts on the sprout, and the woman was like, "What is that?" And I said, "It's a Brussels sprout." And she was like, "So what do I do with it?" So I had this whole conversation about Brussels sprouts, and it's kind of like mini cabbage, and you do want to season it because it can get weird. And so I took her through how to make sauteed Brussels sprouts or roasted Brussels sprouts, but
Mhm.
she had no idea.
Wow.
But when she saw the broccoli, she was like, "Oh, I know exactly what to do with the broccoli, and I make a little sauce for my broccoli." So culturally appropriate. So we do want to teach people and put them in the space of learning, but we also want to make people comfortable. So you don't do your experimental dish to bring to Thanksgiving dinner. You do your experimental dish on a Saturday night when you're just trying to figure it out, and hopefully the people at your house want to eat it. So that's where we sit with the monetary donations, because we have the relationships to go out there and get those items. But again, like I said, you've never had an eggplant before, you don't know what to do with it, but you know what to do with broccoli, you know what to do with spinach or cabbage, kale. So we want people to be comfortable in that space because that also helps nourish them.
So this is what I'd like for us to do. The whole woman, along with fighting atrocities against women worldwide, would like to partner with Center for Food Action during this period. We would like to help to create a table of thanks to the spirit of giving. And in so doing, we are going to ask all our friends and partners near and wide. The beauty about this, it allows all our viewers all around the world, and yes, that's everybody in Jamaica and Turks and Caicos and Guyana and Liberia, everywhere you email, text, and DM me from. All the guys in some Arab country, some far off place, this is where you go to PayPal, Cash App, Zelle, and send me something. We're going to put a link up. We will give you also the QR code where you can go and donate. It's bit.ly, bit.ly dot, are you ready? TWW Food Drive. It goes directly to Center for Food Action. We don't even have to touch it, filter it, or take a penny from it for fees. Every dollar you donate will go directly to Center for Food Action. It gets better. They are a non-profit organization. They're
Absolutely.
501c3. So if you give a sizable donation and you say to me, Natalie, I gave to CFA and here is proof, which I'm sure you won't even need to do because they will already receive it, they will provide for you, guess what? A tax certificate. So you get a tax write off. So you give money, you help someone, and then you get a tax break. Come on, help us make this happen. We're going to be donating to them. We're going to make a cash donation because we want it to be 3 for 1. I'd rather give 3 pounds of Brussels sprouts over 1 pound of Brussels sprouts. And I think the
Yes.
families would appreciate that. So here is the QR code. We're going to put it up. Scan the QR code with your phone. Don't worry, if you're listening in the car, come back, watch us later. We're going to have this available for you. It's going to be living on Facebook, it will be on our YouTube page, and we're going to repost this all throughout the next few weeks so you can see this. So remember, supermarket gift cards are welcomed. If you want to give cans of stuff, cans of yams, cans of cranberry sauce, cans of gravy, canned fruits are okay, and canned vegetables, healthy soups. Try to get the low sodium version. Get the stuffing that
Yes.
has low sodium. We'd like to get rice, but please, brown rice, basmati, wild grain rice, because white rice isn't that good, especially for people of color. Macaroni and cheese, because the kids really love it. And coffee and tea are always welcome. Remember, Center for Food Action, we're watching and you're chatting, rather, I'm chatting with, and you're watching Nicole A. Davis, who is so generously given up her time to sit with us today. So we're here to partner with you, Nicole, and we want to make this a special year for the families. This is the real full first year post pandemic. And
It
we
is.
have to help these Thanksgiving tables look like they did pre pandemic.
Yes.
And I can tell you, there's so many families who have lost large percentages of their income that have not regained it. My household, for one, we have lost a considerable amount of our income and we have not regained it since the pandemic and probably won't for a while. But, thank God we're living and well and survived the pandemic. So that's the win. So partner with us. See this lovely lady and her beautiful smile. And she's local and easy to access. The QR code again is going to be on the screen. And remember to donate to bit.ly/TWW Food Drive. Nicole, how can we stay in touch with you?
Listen, you can visit us at www.cfanj.org. So we constantly have updates on the website. You can go to the website and just learn more. If people are in the area, Natalie, and are interested in volunteering, we'd love to have them come and volunteer. We have 5 outlets in Bergen County and Passaic County. So we're in Englewood, Hackensack, Saddlebrook, Mahwah, Ringwood, and on the campus of Bergen Community College. So there are opportunities for people to come and pack groceries, people to load cars, to give us assistance in the office. So there are volunteer opportunities. You click the volunteer tab, and our very capable and able volunteer director, Valerie Anderson, will be in touch with you. So that is another way that people can assist us. And I just want to get this in, Natalie, so that people realize we service 100 towns in northern New Jersey. There are people in every town. They come to those locations that I named. And recently, with a grant from the county, we were able to get a delivery van. So for people that are sick and shut in, we can deliver the groceries to them, and especially seniors. So we are growing in the space. That was an innovation of Patricia Espy, and I've taken that and run with that. So we're kind of our own Instacart, if you will, at no fee. So, we want to make sure that everybody has access.
I think that's quite exciting. And, we talked about the donations, but I'm going to invite viewers, watchers, and those of you who are local, if you would like to volunteer, send CFA a note. Definitely click on the volunteer button, but let me know. Let's do a little gathering where we get together and volunteer, serve the
absolutely.
And I would love to do that before Thanksgiving. So we're going to get a date and time on hand. We'll see if we can get Deidre Tate involved because, she produces everything we do, and that will be a production.
Yes.
And we would love to be able to not just donate and give you things, but we'd like to give of our time.
Yes. And that's the heart.
Thank you
That's the
so
heart.
much for joining us, Nicole. It's always a pleasure seeing you. I am so delighted and excited to have you sit in the seat as Executive Director over at Center for Food Action. It is a passion of ours. If you know Obie McKenzie, you know he is all about food insecurity long before it was the sexy term. He was about people
Correct.
hungry and they need food. We must get them soup, and his thing is soup. So we're so excited. Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
we wish you an absolutely abundant season. May your basket overflow and may your coffers always be full.
Natalie, thank you so much.
It is my absolute pleasure. So there is so much happening in TWW world. It's time to wrap up, but if I would be remiss if I did not tell you that we are now 1 month away from our annual fundraiser and toy drive. You have to be there. So keep your eyes and ears open. Invitations will be out. Rather, the tickets will be on sales in a few days, and you'll be able to get your ticket online on Eventbrite. But you can always find out more information by checking us out on our social media pages. Once again, I'd like to say thank you to our sponsors. Thank you, Hope Wade. I'm feeling super glam. But more importantly, this broadcast is brought to you courtesy of Diageo of North America and their program, Drink IQ. I'm Natalie B. McKenzie, and I wish you enough life to live, enough joy